This is the first live stream that I am doing for the public for AutomatedWith.tech, the new YouTube channel. Very quickly, this is going to be kind of a backstage channel, so not a whole lot of informal. It's not a lot of fancy graphics. You can see all the stuff in the backstage there. What I'm doing with this channel, this is the channel that if you want to learn how to use AI in new and interesting ways, get a little more impact, and actually use AI to get you to do stuff that you need to get done in your own business or personal life, that's what this is what this channel is about. It's about doing the actual work of using AI to get stuff done, because I got to do stuff in my day-to-day business. And so I figured, why not just, instead of telling everybody all the cool stuff you can do with AI, I'm just going to show you what you can do with AI by doing the stuff with AI for myself and for our own company, and of course with my co-founder, who just happens to be my wife. We're going to be doing all of this together. So this again is the sort of backstage channel. I'm going to show you what I currently have set up, because this channel is actually how you're going to see how I'm literally launching other businesses using AI. So we're going to use this channel, and I'm purposely recording from as close to the start as I possibly could. So I want to kind of prove the point, in fact, because if you see this screen, this is what the site looks like right now. So we've got the AutomatedTech site. Of course, you can see there's not a whole lot there. I will show you what I've got going on the dashboard itself. There's not a whole lot in here. There's not a lot of infrastructure. I put in some plugins. We're going to be using the Fluent system, which I really liked. So we're going to build this. I'll have a community and CRM and everything else that we want to put in there, but it's completely empty right now. There's nothing here. It's a shell of what it's about to become. And what I really wanted to do is take this AutomatedWith.tech community, grow this thing by showing people how to use AI to grow a business, and of course that being one of them. And then we'll have different showcases within this platform to be able to showcase what's possible with AI. Because my real product is not AutomatedWith.tech. That's just the thing I'm using to create the real things, which I'll be doing in podcasts and other things. So I'm going to show you all of this, but first I'm going to show you how do I do this? How do I figure out what to do next? And so I'm going to go right back, and we're going to flip into Gemini, which is the LLM that I use. It does not matter what you use: Gemini, ChatGPT, Claude, Grok, any of them. Any local, if you're doing local SEO or local AI and you've got your own little model you like, doesn't matter. You can use any of these things. What I'm going to show you now is I think probably unique method of prompting that you haven't used before when it comes to AI, would be my guess. It certainly wasn't one that I thought was normal. And now that I've been using AI in specific ways, especially over the last maybe 6 to 8 months or so, I've personally really found it that I've figured out ways to unlock what the capabilities of AI are. But ironically enough, it wasn't by working with AI to figure out how to use AI. It was by working with AI to figure out how to use me to use AI. And this is what I'm about to show you. So here's how I'm going to do this. I'm going to call this Riffing with AI, because that's really how I think about it. I'm just going to riff with AI. And what I'm going to do is describe to AI as best that I can kind of the current experience that I want to have, the end state, I guess, of what I want AutomatedWith.tech to be and what I'm trying to do. And I'm really not sure what I need to do as a next step, and I need a plan to figure this stuff out, because I don't know. I don't know the best plan. I know that AI has all the knowledge in the world, and my job is to figure out how to use this tool called AI to make sure that I am also aware of the right part of the knowledge of the world that it has, so I can get more results done in my life. And so I'm going to just riff, and I'm going to show you how to do this. First, what you're going to see me do is literally just riff. I'm just going to talk stuff through. Then I'm going to attach a certain prompt to the bottom of that. I'm going to show you that, and I'll give you the prompt, so you'll have access to that. And all of this will be constantly free. I'm not going to gate any of this stuff. So you'll have that there as well. So, but first, let me just sort of give you an idea of riffing. And here's what I mean by you sort of describe to AI not how to do something. I'm not trying to give it instructions on what I want it to do. I'm trying to say, this is where I'm trying to get to. Help me get there. Right? That's kind of what I'm trying to do. And the way that I'm going to do that is by doing my best to describe where I currently am, where my current sort of state is, and where I'm trying to go, so that AI can help me fill in the blanks and I can build a path to get there. And that's what the prompt will help us to do. But I'll show you all of this. So first, I'm just going to go ahead and riff. Make sure my mic is ready, which it is. Okay. Hey, I wanted to kind of get some guidance on a project that I'm working on. We're about to basically launch AutomatedWith.tech. In fact, we're actually launching the YouTube channel now because I'm live streaming what I'm actually doing right now. I'm showing how to use AI in surprisingly powerful ways to hopefully get a little bit more impact so that people can actually start using AI to improve their own world, to improve their own personal lives, their professional lives, the lives of others, the lives of their communities, to really help them to level up what is possible and bring them to a point where they are shocked, absolutely shocked at the results they can create on their own when they properly knows how to use AI to help improve their own capacity to get more done in their own lives. And that's kind of what AutomatedWith.tech was all about. I wanted it to be a platform where I could basically, using all of these techniques, record the process of AutomatedWith.tech as it's building the actual things that I want to build. For example, I would love to create a podcast called This Is Your Mind on AI and use that as a showcase of how to create a podcast with AI and being able to help people understand. That whole point of that podcast would be to help people understand how to use AI for more personal development reasons. And so that's just an example of how the Automated with Tech and showing how we're building out our work and building out the community. By the way, we're using the Fluent suite of products from a company called WP Manage Ninja. So we have Fluent community and Fluent support and Fluent booking and all the different tools. And we need to be able to build that because that's all hosted on WordPress. So I need to be able to build the community because I want this really engaged community that is absolutely open to learning new things about AI and want to hang out with each other and just want that vibrant community. It's going to be free, so we're never going to charge for that stuff at all. I just want to have a place where people can go and talk about AI and then maybe open up these different showcases. So like one showcase would be the, This Is Your Mind on AI podcast, but another one could be on, how we build our marketing campaigns for the Automated with Tech channel, right, for YouTube, and maybe how we do consulting or building book a call funnels or some challenges from a business standpoint. But then there's another whole other showcase that we could be talking about how AI is used for improving one's personal health or a relationship. Maybe relationships with spouse or kids or better parents, or maybe for a nonprofit. Hopefully you're getting the idea of where AutomatedWith.tech is supposed to be going. At least that's the intention that I have with it. I have no idea how to do this. In my head, it feels like this is an amazing movement of people who are seeing these new, different ways of using AI, kind of this meta prompting approach. And because that particular style is so much more useful, they immediately start using it, get this massive impact. The whole idea goes viral. People start sharing the AutomatedWith.tech channel. They're seeing, especially for the backstage, because that's kind of what AutomatedWith.tech is, that the YouTube channel there is all about the backstage of, the how things were happening. It's like the back of the house, right? It's like the kitchen, all the ingredients being assembled, and I'm recording that process so that everybody understands how the work is done. And then there'll be the front end products, right? Kind of the front of house, things like the This Is Your Mind on AI podcast that people can subscribe to. And then if they do sign up for something or any of that stuff, well, all of that was handled by the AutomatedWith.tech platform. So all of that was built and hosted with AutomatedWith.tech. So that's how they all come together. I'm hoping that I'm not really confusing you because I know that there's a ton of stuff that I'm trying to communicate. But at the end of the day, my wife and I, we're co-founders of this company. We have found it unbelievably useful to work with AI in these new and interesting ways, especially this one way that you're about to see, which is this riffing analysis that you're about to go through. That's one of the ways. That's a perfect example. The thing that you're doing right now is one of the things that we're going to be showing people. But there's a lot more stuff when it comes to getting more from AI. So I wanted to talk through everything, brain dump a bunch of stuff, not really get caught up on the words, and just trying to communicate the pattern of what I'm trying to do over and over again so that AI can eventually analyze it and riff through it. And we can show people how you can take a weird little prompt like this and end up with this amazing game plan that automatically pulls you into action so that we can kind of get into flow and get things moving and continue to build AutomatedWith.tech in front of the world as we do it live. Done. Okay, I was staying very quiet while that was finishing out. I didn't realize it was so far behind, but clearly I speak in gusts of up to 350 words a minute. Okay, so this is me riffing out everything. You heard that, right? I'm not going to go back and edit any of that. All I'm going to do is just kind of make a little enter there. I just hit Shift Enter to put another line. And what I'm doing, and again, I will give you this prompt. So I'm going to put this in the, it'll be in the description of the live stream. In fact, what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab it. I'll put it in the chat. So I'm just going to grab that link. This is the, I know, by the way, that there is nobody in chat right now. And that is only because I didn't tell anybody I was doing this live stream. This is just the first live stream. We figured we would just launch it in probably what is the worst good enough to get going way possible. And we would try that. So here we are. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this prompt. So you can also go to this Google Doc. I'm going to keep this link open and we'll keep all the latest versions of the prompt here. So bookmark this link is what I'm saying. So I'm going to keep this here and then other prompts and everything else we'll add here. So it'll all be in here, but I'm going to come down here and we're just going to grab all of this. So, end of prompt all the way up. So I'm just going to grab this part and this is it, just this piece. Because what I'm doing, and the instructions sort of tell you what to do here, but what I'm doing is I'm getting my entire prompt, my user version, right? All the stuff that I'm trying to explain. You can type it out. I personally find using a microphone helps you think through stuff on the fly. For me, it works better when I riff, doing it with a mic. So, but I just sort of brain dump everything you're trying to get done in the best way you know how. You don't have to be perfect at it. If you forget a detail, who cares? Don't worry about that. Don't worry about being right. Just get it out of your head and get it into AI so we can get some stuff done with it. So again, I'm hitting that little, oops. I want to hit stop. Okay. I want to make sure I just stopped it because I didn't want to hit enter there. Okay. So now I'm going to, there's our musings, right? This is my little AI part. I'm going to take this and now I'm going to paste in my prompt. So what's happened, if I go up to the top, there's everything where I started, going through everything. I'm not trying to correct anything right now, very important. And so now what I'm going through is at the very prompt right there, this is the actual start of the prompt for AI. So what should happen, and this is something I want to kind of full disclosure, I've never used this prompt before. This is like, I evolve prompts all the time and I evolve my techniques all the time. And this is the freshest, most powerful version of the first version of the most useful version of the prompt I've ever had, but it's not tested. So it could completely fail. If it fails, it's going to fail because it maybe didn't catch this part, but I'm going to see. Let's just find out. What should happen is that AI is going to go through a little riff exercise, and I'm going to explain what riff is as we go through it. So for now, all I'm going to do is say what I'm going to say, which is what I did, brain dumped everything out. I pasted the prompt at the bottom of that, and I'm just going to hit that little enter button, and I'm going to let AI kind of do its thing. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a look at this thinking process. Now I'm using the thinking model here. Again, I don't think that honestly matters. You could do this with a free version. You don't have to have the thinking models. I like them because I like to see what the thinking is. So in here, I'm just looking, there's our riff session. So I know that it's focused properly because that is exactly what it should be doing. It's focused on results step. Okay, perfect. So it's doing exactly what it should be doing. So I'm going to walk through what's happening here. And this is literally what I do. Like I would be doing this anyway, which is my whole point. I would be doing this, except probably sitting on my little sofa in the office, on with my laptop instead of live streaming it. But I would be going through this exact thing, doing exactly what I did, miking it out, giving the riff prompt, going through this for the experience that I am about to have. Okay. So the result step, the first thing it's doing is it's going through the logic. It's pulling everything that it can logically out of everything that I gave it, which is why I wasn't worried about giving it too much or the weird stuff or something out of context or maybe I'm missing. I didn't care because I just need AI to say, here's what I got. Like, I don't know if it's everything, but I know it's what I currently have, right? So that's the first step. And it's going through the result. Like logically, let's think through the result you're trying to get. So first it's going through the logical map. Point A, here's our current state. So my wife and I, the co-founders, are starting the line of AutomatedWith.tech, which is true. A little space, but that's fine. Now, also what I'm gonna do, this is the part where I'm gonna start correcting it. So I'm going to say here, and this is just so it knows going forward, AutomatedTech equals, and then I'm going to say it is technically. Now, if I had said, by the way, oh, it's a website, it would automatically know that. I just forgot to say that. So AutomatedWith.tech equals AutomatedWith.tech. So that's one little change. So you've got a core vision, a powerful set of AI methodologies like this one, which is true, a YouTube channel for live building, which is true. We're literally doing that now. And the technical foundation of WordPress, Fluent Suite, which is true. We also have other technical platforms. We use Cloudflare, the server and all that stuff, but they're outside of what matters, I think, here. So if it mattered that I use Cloudflare, I'd also say, oh, and we also use Cloudflare. I just don't think it matters for what I'm trying to do currently. All right, so the energy is high, but the exact sequence of actions feels vast and undefined. Yes. In fact, my co-founder and lovely wife has been constantly asking me to define these actions. And this is the point. I was like, I don't know how to do it because I want to show everybody how you do it live. And so, yay, she's also going to get what she wants as we're going through here, hopefully. So that is exactly correct. That is the current state. Creating a sense of I have no idea how to do this in my head, which is true. I don't know how to do this in my head. I know what it is. I know the feeling of what I want it to be. I kind of have a vision for it in a way, but I cannot effectively describe a logical path, right, of what it is. So that's kind of the current state. That is true. I feel that's very useful. If it wasn't, I would do kind of what I'm doing here. And I would say, well, hey, regarding point A current state, and I would riff a little more. I would give a little more details on what I think maybe it missed or some additional context that might be useful. But for now, I'm like, yeah, that sounds pretty good. So the journey. So to get from this state of high potential but low clarity, which is true, to a thriving movement, which is what we really want. We want a lot of people being able to use AI in just these cool ways because I think the world will be a healthier place when we all do. The key is creating a self-reinforcing loop from day one. Okay, this requires moving from a broad vision to a specific, tangible first win for both you and the audience. Okay, me is what it's helping me to do work here. To do that, we need to clarify three things. Initial audience, so brand movement. Now, I already have the initial audience stuff, so I'm going to come back to this a little bit because I already have some stuff on the audience. So some of this might not need to be talked about now. But I'm going to show you how I'm going to handle that. The core premise, the results are often not just learning about AI, more specific experience to receive the micro shock. It's an interesting way of saying that. But that would be an interesting way of experiencing it. Like, oh, it's a shocking experience, but in a good way. I want to make sure that's good. Genesis Showcase, we won't call it the Genesis Showcase, but AI loves to use the term Genesis for anything that is starting. Oh my gosh. Pop quiz, any idea why? Because the probabilities are Genesis is the right word. Okay, anyway, so to deliver this micro shock, Genesis Showcase, okay, well, might come back to that. Point B, logical desired outcome. Immediate result you're aiming for isn't just launching the platform, it's more precise. You have an engaged foundational community of curious and capable achievers. This is true, who actively participate because they are being guided through a Genesis Showcase. But in the podcast, they begin to experience their own micro shock. So the Genesis being first. Okay, I think I got what it's doing. I am going to riff a little bit here. So I'm just going to take this out because I'm going to paste this back in later. And I want to talk this through because there's a little bit there, and this is how I'm going to do it. Regarding the point A of the current state, I think that nails it. It makes a lot of sense. That sounds about right. In terms of the journey, the initial audience, I've actually attached knowledge that talks about the audience so you understand who they are. You'll notice we kind of call them like they're the people who are seeking knowledge that's actually practical and useful. They're not into hype or anything like that. Sometimes, we'll refer them as like practical seekers, as like internal jargon, but they would never call themselves practical seekers. So I don't think we should call them that either. We should call them whatever they would call themselves, to be honest. But at least you'll understand the audience from that. The second thing about the core promise, you're right, and we want to be able to help them with those little micro shocks, though that does sound kind of bad. It almost sounds painful, but I think you're right in terms of maybe not the description of that, but the experience of it is a little like, wow, holy cow, that's different. Like there should be a feeling of a perspective shift. Like I can never look at this the same way again. That's really what we're trying to get the audience to do, because when they shift their perspective on what's possible, then all of a sudden now anything's possible, and then anything is possible. They start really believing that and start taking much more useful actions with AI because they now know how to get more stuff done through AI. And then regarding the Genesis Showcase, there's actually going to be multiple showcases. We could certainly start with This Is Your Mind on AI and get that up and running. And I think that's a good first one to start with. But pretty quickly, I do want to ramp up other showcases because we need to be doing more than just the one. And the reason we want to do that is because we want to show people how much is possible. And we want to kind of, have people go like, holy cow, how are they getting so much done? And we want to be able to say, oh, we'll just go watch Automated.with.tech and you can see how they're doing it and how they're doing all this different front end stuff and building all these different automations and using AI to help them to guide themselves to be able to get more done with AI. So hopefully that makes sense and kind of how we want to talk about those showcases. And then ultimately, when you think about the desired logical outcome, you nailed it. It is exactly about having that engaged community of of those curious, capable achievers, right? The practical seekers. Again, I don't think they call themselves that. We should always use the terms that they are more likely to be wanting to use themselves, or more likely to, use themselves when describing themselves. But they are actively participating. That's the point, to get out of their own head and to actively participate and start doing other things in their life that they can do now because they are being guided through what is possible by their own usage of AI based on how they're learning AI and how to work with AI because of what we're doing here at the website of AutomatedWith.tech. Does that help, or have I confused the situation? Right, there we go. It got caught up. So then, and then I'm just going to paste this little piece back in here so it understands the spelling of it. And that's it. So now what we should be doing is going through kind of a looping process here, because now we're talking about the results and AI is going to be working with me. And this is technically what's happening. I am using AI as a tool, just like I'm using my computer as a tool, just like I'm using my microphone as a tool, I'm using AI as a tool to work through my own thoughts to get clear on the results that I am trying to get. AI is not doing anything for me. I am doing it, right? I am using tool in this way. I'm very aware of that. And I'm pointing that out on purpose because sometimes we can think our AIs, I know that some of us believe they're alive. Maybe it's not you. However, it can feel like it's alive, right? It can feel like that. And I understand that. And because of that, sometimes you can feel like it's a separate thing and you treat it like it's a separate thing outside of you. But it's better if you understand that you are using it and it's kind of within you. It is you using a tool to get you to do things, right? In this case, I need to get clear on the results that I need to understand so that I can get things done. But I'm gonna use AI to do that, right? So now AI is going through, again, this is just me thinking it through with myself. I realize that, but I'm using AI to do it. So we're going through, I always skip this stuff where it says like, you're amazing, you're awesome, because who cares? The term, the other thing I didn't do, I didn't give it the audience. I should have uploaded that audience, but I'm gonna do that in a bit. I'll show you where that is. So also about the term microshock, unlock moment, that's cool. Yeah, whatever, epiphany, I don't care what it's called, just the experience is there. Here's the point A, unchanged, have the vision, the journey now, strategy repeatable with blueprint showcase. This is your mind on AI first. Yeah, the blueprints are fine. I mean, it's kind of what, I'm just going to call them showcases, but that's fine. Creating public facing template and process for any showcase. That's exactly right. That's exactly right. I want to create something, not the first showcase. I want to create something through a showcase style template that becomes something so I can then copy and do another podcast or another thing that becomes something other than a podcast. So that's true. I want to be able to launch anything, like create anything with AI. Mastering, documenting the one blueprint. Exactly. If we can, that'd be great. And then the refined sort of outcome, the engaged community actively participating in the showcase. This is your mind on AI because they're following clear documented process. They're starting to experience their own unlock moments. Yes. Perfect. Okay. So I'm just going to do a couple of things. Now these I'm going to type in. So I'm going to say, this is a great description of the experience. Let's use terms our audience is likely to also use. And then I've also attached the audience knowledge. So what I did here is to go through, and what I'm going to do is I'll show you. So I'm just going to an add from Drive here, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to type in. So we're going to say knowledge. And this is just how I save stuff. So I have knowledge, and then I'm going to say audience. Actually, this is your mind on AI. It's my little code. So here's the brand audience perspectives. Where was my audience? I believe this was my audience perspectives here. So I'm going to do that. Okay, so there's my audience knowledge. Now, eventually, in other videos, I will show you how to do all of that stuff, to build knowledge documents and create audiences and all of that. I'm going to need to do that again and again and again anyway for other things. But I needed to do that stuff to at least get to this point earlier, which is why I have it. So again, I'll show you how to do all this stuff later. So then we're going to go through and I'm going to submit that. So now I should go through maybe one more confirmation cycle with the result just to be sure that AI is going. And what's basically happening is I'm using AI to make sure that the two of us are kind of seeing things the same way, right? We're describing the result the same way and we agree on the result that I'm trying to get. The reason that's important is because AI knows more about the world than I do. So what's happening in the background is during this process, AI is going back to what it knows about the world and it's seeing what I know about the world through the results that I'm trying to get. And it's trying to go back and forth and say, hey, did he miss anything here? Is there something I should be asking him about? Is there something we should be thinking about? That's what it's doing. So now that it seems like it's done that, it's got the logical map. So it seems like it has everything else. And honestly, I think the rest of the stuff was good. It had everything it needed. I didn't need to correct anything. So I just gave it the additional knowledge. Now it's moving on and it's got the results. In other words, the logical stuff it's figured out, or at least we think it has. Now it's focusing on the emotional side. Right? Now, this is important because this is the impact of the results. And this is the thing that most people, I think, forget about. They define results, which is fine. They forget about the impact those results are supposed to get. For example, my goal might be to get my driver's license. Okay, that's the result I want. But is that really the impact that I want? Well, no. If my goal was to get a driver's license, it's because I want the impact that comes with being able to drive a car and have transportation and control and freedom and all the other stuff that comes on, right? Kind of like when I don't know, if you have a drill, they always talk about people that have drill bits, they're buying holes. Well, because the drill is not, it's the result they're buying, but they really want the impact of being able to have a hole there so they can, use it to a screw or to hang a picture or, build a table or whatever the thing is they want. They want the actual impact of the result. AI, I have personally found, works substantially better when it knows both sides. So technically, I think we do too. So it's a win-win. But that's what it's trying to do here. It's trying to understand how we feel about the results we're trying to get so that it can help us tune things, right? So if we kind of say we want results, but our feelings aren't quite there, the energy's not quite there, maybe we really don't want that result. But if we describe it in a slightly better way, the energy's higher. And we go, oh yeah, actually, that's what I really want. And you kind of heard me do it earlier when it was saying like, oh, we're going to be able to showcase template is what we're doing that can create a bunch of other showcases, not one showcase that's we're not even thinking, we're going to build this thinking template first. And I was like, yes, that's exactly what I wanted. I didn't say that, but I recognized that was correct. And that's because AI showed it to me. But that's what I've asked it to do. This prompt actually does that. So now it's going to do the same thing emotionally. So let's kind of walk through this. So now we've got the logical result. Now it's going to go through and say, okay, well, assuming logically we did everything, here's what it is. People having the first unlock moments, the initial chaotic feeling of I have no idea how to do this is replaced by the sense of calm momentum. Now, it's speaking to me at this point as the user because I am using it to get started building this company, this whole thing. So it's helping me now to sort of try on the experience of this result. So what I'm doing is I'm going through this. I am literally feeling it. I'm aware and I'm emotionally aware of feeling this experience and experiencing kind of what this feels like right now. So when you achieve that result, right, that we just talked about, the foundational community is active, people are having their first unlock moments, the initial chaotic feeling of I have no idea how to do this is replaced by profound sense of calm momentum. I've got things moving and it's calm, it's not hectic, it's just cool. It's the specific feeling of an engineer that an engineer gets when they flip the switch on a complex machine they designed and it doesn't just sputter, it clicks, whirs, and settles into a smooth, powerful hum. The frantic energy of building is replaced by the steady confidence of seeing the system work. This is speaking to me in my brain right now. That is exactly what I would want. I'm so happy to have that feeling right now. Now remember, this feeling that I feel right now is I get to feel it, but I won't be able to feel it for very long because it's not real, right? This is in the AI's world. I'm literally in an LLM. I'm reading this. I'm on a live stream right now. I'm not actually doing the thing. I'm not doing work, but I'm getting a chance to go like, yeah, the feeling is exactly right. Oh my God, if I could get this feeling of just like, doing this, and if every day felt like I get to hit a button, it goes, it just starts cranking. Oh, that would be so cool. So yes, the feeling is good. I'm aligned with that so far. You won't, now it's going back to talking to me. You won't experience this as a sudden viral explosion. That's unfortunate. But honestly, if you could help me with that watching in the audience, let me know. I'm all for proving AI wrong. You'll feel it in a single specific post in your community. I get that. Someone will say, I used the framework from the podcast showcase to tackle a problem at work. It's been stuck for months and it's solved. I can't look at my job the same way again. I absolutely expect to see this stuff. I think that's true. I can't wait. That's going to be cool. The one post That one post is the proof. It's the tangible human evidence that your blueprint showcase is no longer just an idea in your head. It's a real functioning engine for empowering others. The feeling isn't hyper excitement. It's a deep grounded satisfaction, the quiet confidence of an architect walking through their first finished building, seeing people using it and thriving within it exactly as they envisioned. That is, yes, oh my gosh, calm momentum, grounded satisfaction. I absolutely love this. This is what I want. I don't have any notes. If this is the type of thing that result will generate, if this is the impact and I can feel this, again, I'm just sort of going through it saying, well, if this was true, how would I feel? And I'm like, I would feel like this. I would feel like this. If that aligns, which they do, it's like, I don't mind getting that result. The result seems very logical. This feels like, yeah, exactly what I would want. So, okay, cool. This is awesome. And then here's how I think about this. But I have one request. Watch this. Watch what I'm about to do. So the way that I play with the impact part of working with our AI here, because first we have to get clarity on the logic, but we also need clarity on the impact that we're going to get from all that logical action. When I'm working with clarity, I want an intense level of emotion. Not intense bad, just intense. Like, man, it's not just like, yeah, that'd be okay. Like, I don't want that kind of excitement. I don't want to be like, yeah, it'd be nice if I get that result. I want like, oh my God, yes, that would be awesome. So I'm going to ask and see. Now, AI, honestly, it did a really good job on this because I already feel that this is good. However, I want to see if there's another level higher. So I'm going to ask. So I'm going to say, basically, is this a higher level? Is there a higher level of this experience available? Oh, no, higher level. Let's see, a higher or bigger impact. Let's see, following. So I'm going to say following results that are currently defined. Okay, so this is basically saying, knowing what you know about the logical part of this, is there a higher or bigger impact? And you know, what could we do? Like, is there another way of looking at the results is basically what's happening here. So we're going to get that in there. All right. I think oh, you know what? It was still thinking and I might need to reset. I'm going to do one quick thing here. Now, what's happening, just because I have seen this happen with Livestream, well, seen this happen with Gemini occasionally, my button is dead. I can't submit anything, so I can't continue the conversation, and I notice it's still thinking. So I think Gemini got stuck. Now, here's what I've learned. This seems like a recent bug, by the way. If I refresh, sometimes my prompt goes away and all the response goes away, and I can't find the conversation. So I'm going to pull up a new tab. We're going to go in here, and I'm just going to... we're not going to do that's where I built the riff. So if I refresh, I should be able to see in my conversations, my newest conversation, which is right there. Hey, I wanted to get, there we go. All right. So I'm just going to pick up the conversation here. That's all we're doing. Perfect. So let me make sure point A is current state, nails it, helps tremendously. This is the unlock moment. All right. Yeah, it did. It didn't work. Okay. So I'm going to have to redo this. So here, I put in my response. I'm going to have to redo this because unfortunately it glitched, because you can see it just never stopped working. And I'm going to close this now and I'm going to restart this. But it doesn't make sense for me to go back and now say what I was going to say to it because it doesn't have it. But that's okay. I'm going to go through this and I'm not going to, just for sake of time, I'm not going to level up to see if there's something more impactful yet, because honestly, I'm pretty happy with that. And I do want to move on and show you these other steps. So I shouldn't, sometimes I will though. I'll spend some time going down through some of these. But during these live streams, I want to show you the authentic way of me using these tools. So I will occasionally do it, but I really do judge. Like I may not have even done this in the real world. When you reach point B, now this is a different way, right? It's going to do this the same. It should be trying to do the same thing, but it's going to say different words now because that's just how AI is. But let's see if I get the same impact. So when you reach that point B, blueprint running, first members experiencing, it won't be one of frantic, high-struck launch energy. It's going to be calm, generative momentum. Cool with that. Open community forum, not with the hope that someone posted, but with a quiet curiosity to see what they've achieved. Yes, because that's exactly what I want. I want people doing stuff, not talking about how they're going to do stuff. Me included, right? You'll read a comment from a member who says, I used the framework from the podcast and my boss was stunned. In the moment, you'll feel a tangible echo of your own initial excitement. Perfect. Daily work training. Daily work shifts from a draining push, which fortunately is not that right now, which is good, to create content for an audience of engaging flow, starting conversation, the chaos of what should we do next, what we replace by grounded certainty. You look at the system, is that feeling calm and creative freedom? I'm good enough. Yep, sounds great. So I'm gonna keep that for now. Now I might occasionally go back and explore some things, but given the fact I've gone through a couple of impact statements that it's given me, I kind of get the idea of where I'm going, and I kind of am good enough with that. I'm not trying to make it absolutely perfect because I don't know what perfect is yet. I've gone through 2 steps of a 4-step process. So I want to get through those steps because the point is you can't get through them without actually getting through them usefully. And I'm going to show you that in this step. So what this is, the fuse step is where AI is now going through and saying, okay, based on everything you've talked about in this conversation, everything from now until then, we're going to now fuse that logical and that feeling together and the impact, right? The results and the impact. And we're going to describe that in a statement. You're going to go through and take some action on something. And we're going to make sure that this feels the way we think it's supposed to feel so that we can then continue the rest of the plan, if it makes sense. That's kind of what this fusing step is all about. So now that's what it's going to help me to do, or at least it should. So we've got a clear result to aim for, common control freedom, blah, blah, blah. Here's the action, brand new blank document, Google Docs, Words, whatever you want to use, exact phrase, blueprint showcase, this is your mind on AI. All right. So I'm actually going to do this. I will probably, I am sure, change the names, but I kind of like the idea. So I'm going to docs.new. That's how you get into Google Docs. I'm going to paste that in there. There's our name. And then we'll go back here to our AI and predicted, okay. Title is exact phrase. The simple observable result is that a file exists that did not exist, which is true. I now have had action. That's kind of, but this is what it's supposed to do. And I want to emphasize this. With AI, in the past, I have personally had a challenge where I can get so caught up in the planning with AI that I'm just stuck in AI world and never in the real world. And I see that happen sometimes with others. What I am doing with this is making sure that the AI is automatically, without me even realizing it, guiding me to take action before I realized that I was even taking action, which I just did. I literally I knew it was happening and I still did it. But that's my point is AI, I took action in the real world. I created this document that AI got me. It's like, man, did that fuse work? It totally worked because I didn't even think about it. I was like, oh yeah, step 1, just do this. Okay, cool. This is easy. This is simple. Now what do you got? And it's like, that's it. We just needed to know that I did this. The feeling is not of excitement, but a sense of grounding, which is what I felt. It is a good way to describe that because when I created this in my head, I was thinking, all right, I guess this is the first template. I'll be doing one of these each, like a tools doc for each showcase. The other thing, and I didn't mention this to AI, but I'm going to, is, in fact, I'm going to do that now. The AutomatedWith.tech itself is a showcase. It's just the backstage showcase. So it's a showcase of itself, showcasing how it makes showcases. How meta are we? All right, so I'm gonna go back. Let me do that. So this was great. It was a good fuse step. Go do that single thing right now to less than 60 seconds, which it did. When you're back, tell me if you experienced a specific result and that special feeling of grounding. All right, so here's what I'm gonna do. I did go through that. I created the doc. I did feel that feeling. So that was great. I love that. It's a little concerning. It feels like it's a super small step. And even though, to be honest, I didn't realize I was taking action until I had already taken the action, which was kind of cool. But it also felt like it was such a tiny action that maybe it was insignificant. So I feel like I'm not giving it the right credit. Honestly, I don't know. Maybe I'm just talking through too much stuff that doesn't matter right now. But I did also want to think through with these showcases, if you think about it, the AutomatedWith.tech website itself is a showcase because that's kind of the whole idea of AutomatedWith.tech was to be able to show the YouTube channel as we're live streaming, showing everybody what we're doing. So isn't that kind of a showcase too? So then AutomatedWith.tech will actually host the AutomatedWith.tech showcase and the this is your mind on AI showcase, plus the other showcases that we have. Does that change anything in terms of the results or the impact going forward? And I'll say forward here, going forward, since I missed that word. Now again, when you're riffing with AI, you don't need to worry about the words you're using as much. Just try to communicate as often as you can the thing you're trying to say, in as many different ways as you can. Because then what happens is AI is going to see a pattern because you said, oh, I really like apples. Hey, do you have any applesauce? You know, apple pie is my favorite pie. It's all of a sudden going to know that you really think positively toward apples. It'll get that pattern that you and apples are like, you like apples. It'll understand that because you told it, and because there's examples, it'll pick up on that. That's kind of how I do it with my prompting. That's why I talk through the mic a lot, because I'm trying to say the same thing, but I'm doing it in different ways over and over again, so it can kind of get, because maybe one way I say it gives some information that's useful, but another way I say it, the AI picks up something else that's useful, right? And specifically because this prompt is made to take that sort of input, it works really well. All right, so let's see what it said. So it's the entire point. The feeling that the action was too small and that you didn't realize you were taking action until it was done is a sign that it's working, which is exactly how it was designed. So that's good. Because my whole point was like, oh, I don't want to take action. But when you're working with AI and you're taking action as you're working with AI so that the two are the same, that's perfect. So that's what I think I've got. That's what's bypassing resistance, which is great because it's not a dramatic leap. It was a frictionless, almost invisible step. That is all true. Carried me over. That is true. All right. So I'm good with that. AutomatedWith.tech itself is a meta showcase. Yes. It's a permanent ongoing process. This is your mind is the first product showcase. Yes. That doesn't change the result or the impact. Okay, perfect. Now, the reason this is important is because when it recognizes that there's been a change to the result or the impact, it's going to make us go through the whole process again to really confirm the logic again because something's changed, or really confirm the feelings again because something's changed with the impact, and then refuse again to make sure that the action actually happens, right? Can AI get you to get yourself to take action, right? And when I say can AI do it, I don't mean AI as a separate thing outside of you. I mean, to restate that, can you use AI in such a way that you can get you to use AI to get you to do action without realizing it, like I just did in this tiny, small, stupid way. But boy, that is powerful, because all you do is once you know how to do that, you just do it over and over and over again, 10,000 times a day. And then life is just easy. You don't think in terms of effort anymore. You just think in terms of getting stuff done, or an impact. Technically, it's just the impact. You think in terms of the impact that you're making and not the effort you're putting in to make the impact, if that makes sense. And I want to keep the effort on, or keep the focus on the impact. So it's good that it doesn't change stuff. Now we're going to move on to the form step. So this is where it said, okay, now that I understand how to get action, we've confirmed that action works with this plan of this logic, with these impacts. If you tie these two things together and there's a specific step where those things are fused, you should be able to take natural action and just not even realize you're taking action. To you, it just makes sense to do it. Which is what AI is trying to tell me. This is what the tool's trying to tell me. And that's exactly what I want. I want it to feel like, oh, this just makes sense to do. Not, oh, I have to go do this right now for some other reason. It's just, I should just do this right now because it makes sense to do this right now, because it's useful to do this right now. And that's what it's trying to do here. So now it's going to give us the form to help us formulate the journey. So the first one is solidifying the blueprint, the structure of the podcast. The first members build the content community loop. Scale the showcases. Perfect. So we're in phase one. And I think this is one thing I'm going to clarify here is this, because it's not just about the podcast. I needed to clarify kind of the, well, maybe it is the podcast. Now I think about it. So it's really going to be the showcase. So I am going to do that. So this is where I'm not going to get caught up arguing words with AI. If it's that important, I will create a document so it knows what the word should be. I know what it's trying to say because it's me, right? Remember, it's me thinking this through in my head using this tool called AI, which makes me feel like it's a separate human, but it's just me, right? It's my own thoughts. So I'm not going to get upset that I'm reading a word that I don't agree with. So instead of blueprint, I'm just going to think showcase, but that's fine. Scale the showcases. Next action, open the document. And then inside the blank document, there are 5 headings, each in its own. And then we're going to paste these in. This is kind of cool. Oops, that's not what I wanted. I accidentally put it up in here, but that's okay. We'll get rid of that. All right, and we'll put it back down here. Body text, copy. Okay, so there's our core concepts. All right, and now we're going to go back to AI. What did it say to do after that? So this is my name, blank document, predicted experience. So as you type these 5 headings, feelings look for is crystallization, Big abstract of the podcast because less of a cloud, more of a real project. So now I'm actually going to go through and read them. Core questions, podcast answers, the ideal listener, who's this for, the unlock moment, first 2 episodes, required tools and tech. I think that makes sense. I got to think through that stuff. That's perfect. And I still think I'm gonna change something a little bit. I don't know if I like where we're starting. So here kind of what I'm saying. So now I'm gonna try to redirect it into a way that I think is more useful, but I also am not sure. It may not be the most useful. So let's find out. Here's how we do this. Okay, I like this direction about working with the podcast and building that out. My concern is the meta showcase of AutomatedWith.tech. Nothing is being built out there. So in other words, if I haven't built out the community that actually shows the space that is the showcase for This Is Your Mind on AI, then how can I actually start building This Is Your Mind on AI from AutomatedWith.tech community? In other words, I have to create the showcase within the community to be able to put all the recordings and everything there, but the community is not built. The CRM is not built. The support system's not built. The booking system's not built. Nobody can sign up for anything. So I really can't build the community. So in my head, I'm thinking the first logical step, even though I totally appreciate the idea of the podcast, and I think it's important that we go through this, I just think that the AutomatedWith.tech meta showcase is the very first showcase because it's the foundational one that all the other showcases are now built into. But until I can build that thing with the ability to add showcases, then I can't even use it. And right now, like I said, Fluent Community, for example, is a plugin that's been installed and activated, but it's not set up at all. So there is no community. It's just a basic WordPress site that says hello world. So maybe that's where we should focus. I could be totally wrong. It might make more sense to go with this other route, but if it does, I would love to hear kind of a compelling reason. Because again, I'm open to being wrong. I just don't know if I am. And I want to make sure that we're kind of logically considering all the different angles here. By the way, if this does change with the results or the impact, could you let me know? Because I'm happy to go through this process again to really confirm that. I just want to make sure that, you know, the when we come to the forming part of this, it really is around that meta. I believe it needs to be around the meta showcase first, but open to being wrong if you feel there's other options. All right, so you see what I was doing there was trying to talk through a bunch of different ways of, I think I'm right, I might be wrong, I think I'm right, I might be wrong, here's what I think I can do, here's what I'm not quite sure of. And I'm doing this kind of one step forward, one step back, trying to talk in this pattern where I can have the AI go through and say, okay, clearly I've done something maybe incorrect and I need to rethink something. That's what I'm trying to see, this. So this is why I like going into thinking. So it's like, see the user's point, catch 22. Yes! That's what it is. This is why I talk like I talk with AI, because I need it to reflect back to me the simple way of me saying, oh, hey, I think we have a catch-22 here, where I would never really want to say that to an AI, but I will talk around what's going on so the AI can say, oh, it sounds like it's this. And I'm like, yes, that's it. That's how I know we're both aligned, right? Because it's mimicking back to me what I should have just said. You can't show the code base without the container. That's a better way of me saying that. So that makes sense. Okay, so I think it got it. So and don't get caught up on this with your AIs because they will always tell you you're awesome. So I skip that stuff. It does not change the result or the impact, which is great. And I don't think it should either. I would have answered like this because I think the core of it is intact. We just are changing which one we're starting with first. It's the order of operations, which makes sense. So the meta showcase is the first thing. The form step now becomes establish the foundation. Launch the first product showcase. Yes, I do need to launch that. Engage and scale. Okay. That's awesome. So this is what we need to do. Phase 1, phase 2, phase 3. Perfect. And now we can actually start getting to work. So log into the WordPress dashboard, left-hand menu, Fluent Community. So this is where I can come in. So I go into the Fluent Community plugin, which is way down at the bottom there. So I've got that. And this is where I can start setting up the community itself. Now, all I would do is continue to do this with AI. AI is telling me what to do. I'm now going forth and doing that. Obviously, I'm double checking with myself because it's me doing the work, not AI forcing me to do anything. It is me using AI to figure out to think through what I should be doing next. That's all I'm doing. And then I'm just doing the thing. But watch what it's doing here. So next action, log into WordPress dashboard, left-hand menu, navigate to the settings for Fluent Community, do nothing else. Just open the main settings and look at the options presented on the screen. So I'm gonna go through and before I do this, I'm also gonna read this, the predicted experience. What's happening is this tool's trying to say, if this works the way that, and this is from AI's perspective here, if this works for you, Mercer, in the way that I as AI thinks it should work, this is the experience that you're about to have. So try this on so you know that you're doing it right? Because this is what should happen. You should be experiencing it in this way. If you're not, the action you took may not be the right action. That's kind of what I've built into this. So that's why that predicted experience is there. So the current feeling of when you think of your hello world site is likely one of wide open, intimidating ambiguity, which it is. Because when you see this, it's exactly what I think of. It's like, okay, I know I got to do a bunch of stuff. I only have, 4,000 different things I have to do. So yeah, that's exactly right. So I need, when you open that specific settings page, the feeling to look for is a shift from ambiguity to inventory. Okay. The vague, overwhelming task of build the community will be replaced by a concrete, visible set of toggles, fields, and tabs. The feeling of walking into a dark, messy room and successfully finding a light switch. Nice. You don't have to clean the room. Good, because I was starting to feel some pressure. You just have to see what's in it. This is going to ground the project, make it feel tangible and actionable for the first time. All right, let's give this a shot. So I'm going to go into our Fluent community and then go into portal settings. And then this is some of the stuff that I had. I don't have any logos. I didn't do any stuff, the permalinks. Okay, so at this point, I am in our settings. I can go through our customization. I can go through the members management. I can go through email settings, all the stuff. Okay, none of this has been properly set up yet because I wanted to go through AI specifically for it. And I think I can do that now effectively. And so what's happening for me, and I'm trying to describe the experience of this as I'm doing it, because I think that's the most important part of this process. What used to happen with AI with me is I would get with AI, get a ton of ideas, kind of okay ideas, better maybe than me brainstorming by myself. And I just got a lot of extra stuff I had to do or think about or process. And that's all that was ever happening. It was like, it just wasn't actually impactful. I got a lot of awesome results. I got a lot of awesome creativity. I got a cool, show people cool stuff, right? Show people cool stuff. That was neat. And that's what I used to do for the first couple of years of AI. It was like that. But this past year, I've been really using AI differently because I stopped trying to figure out how to use AI to get more from AI. And instead, I'm trying to figure out how to get more from myself using AI to do it. And so that change is what causes me to think a little differently with interacting with these prompts. And I'm seeing AI not as a person or a mythical being or anything anthropomorphized. It's just a tool that I can create into any form that I want. In this case, I've got it through a form that walks me through the results that I'm trying to get, the impact I'm trying to get from those results, clarifying all that, allows me to sort of try on the experience. And as I'm trying on the experience, I have literally already started creating it, which is the point. Because before I would just have a bunch of AI stuff that I'd be like, look at this document of all this stuff I now think I can maybe one day think about doing. Now I'm literally building this and I've already got the document created. I know it's tiny. I know. That's the stupidly simple part of this. That's all it takes. Is now I've got the little showcase thing going on. I'm already in the Fluent community settings. I can now go through the AI and walk through all of this stuff together, and I'm going to set them up. And that is what I'm going to do off camera. I'm going to be like, okay, cool. What would you recommend? Because now it understands the context. It knows the results. It knows the impact I'm trying to get. So the settings that it suggests to me, the conversations that it has with me from here on out, should be gearing me toward that ultimate resolution so that I can get this thing up and running. And then what I'm going to do is I will continue these live streams, and I'll be doing these. I'm going to think at least once a day because I need to get work done. And so again, I need to get the work done anyway. So for me, why not produce content as I'm getting the work done? So I'm going to do my best to keep that going. However, if you have questions, leave them in the comments. I'm going to leave a pinned comment as well with the Google Doc. So you always have access to that. Bookmark that, keep it for as long as you want. Share it with whoever you want, because I'm going to keep all the Riff prompts on there. I'm also going to show you how to eventually evolve Riff into something else, and I'll be building out other things, virtual team members and other stuff that will be as a part of this. But we'll work on all of that as we continue to use AI. This was just the first part of like, man, I've got this thing I want to do. It's this massive, cool idea in my head, and I just need to get it going. How do I do that? And now I went from this huge visionary, like, kind of thing that I was thinking about to something I've actually started working on, and now I'm going to continue to work on. I'm just going to stop the live stream because it's going to get boring for you. So anyway, hopefully that made sense. Again, this is the Google Doc itself. I'll make sure it's all in here. You've got your instructions at the top. I'll probably put a link into, in fact, I know I'm going to do it. I'll put a link to the AutomatedWith.tech YouTube channel too in this. So if you pass it on to anybody, they know how to get back to the videos, and we'll go from there. So hopefully that helps you practice this stuff. And then when you do come back to this video or whatever video you learned from, and then pop a little comment, let us know what kind of the riff win was. In fact, I would love, in fact, I'm going to add this right now. I'm going to add this because I think this would be super cool. So 5 is going to be leave your hashtag riff win in the comments on YouTube. So the whole point of this, and I'll pretty this up, is the riff win. This is an idea I have, is that eventually we're going to level in automation, and you know, all the fun tools will come into play. We'll go way beyond LLM stuff we'll be playing with on this channel. So, you know, subscribe. But the riff wins, I'm going to take those, and I'm eventually going to set up an automation that's going to go through all the comments of all the videos that have riff wins. And then we're going to take those and I'm going to use those for certain audience feedback and purposes and other things that we're going to do some cool stuff with AI on. So that's why I'm kind of wanting to start the hashtag riffwin thing. If you do happen to have riff wins, I would love for you to do that. Otherwise, leave questions in there. I'm happy to get back to you on that. Again, I'm going to keep this channel open. I'm going to be heavily engaged with this channel because this is my working channel. So I'm going to be back here getting work done. I should be in this channel fairly often, enough to leave comments and replies back, and let me know what you thought of the first official live stream. I appreciate it. Thank you for your time, effort, and energy. I'll hopefully be able to show tomorrow, and again, I'll give you a quick little progress update, and that's how we'll be doing this. I'll just give you a quick little progress update, and then we'll move on to the next new thing that I'm trying to get done so that these trainings can kind of be episodic. You can kind of just jump into whatever, any of them, and you will see the riffing technique again and again and again, and you will learn other techniques that I'm doing to build different things. So I'll show you all that. I'll keep it up. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, you have different ideas of things that you want to see, leave them in the comments of this channel, and I look forward to seeing them there. So with that, I think we'll go ahead and wrap it up officially. Thanks again for being part of the live stream. First official inaugural live stream. It is officially on the books, and we are running. I'm just so glad we finally got this officially going. Thank you, everybody. Appreciate it, and we will talk to you soon. Take care.